everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, everybody. So I am Christine McKenna-Tirella. I work with Backstage. I love the Irish rep. I'm delighted to be here with Geraldine Hughes today. I am a casting director who's originally from Northern Ireland, just up the road from Geraldine, Bangor. This Belfast girl here, Bangor lady myself. The wonderful Geraldine Hughes. If you're not familiar with her, you may recently have seen her in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on Broadway. You may have seen her in huge blockbusters like Rocky Balboa or Gran Torino. Fabulous movies, beautiful performances. And earlier in the season, Geraldine did a fabulous digital Molly Sweeney, which if you haven't had the opportunity to check out, you should. And of course, she's back with her beautiful one-woman show, Belfast Blues. So I am delighted to speak with you. How are you today, Geraldine?
I'm okay, thanks. I'm a bit, I'm excited that Belfast Blues is being seen in this way. It's a bit strange, but when you act something in the theatre, you feel like, this is the one performance and this is what they see tonight. It'll be different tomorrow, but everyone's seeing the same show. So, but it's been wonderful so far, and I'm so happy to see you. It's been a long time, and I'm so happy to be doing this with the Irish Rep, because Kieran and Charlotte are extraordinary people. I just love them so much. So this is all wonderful.
It's an exciting opportunity to pivot into digital and to reach a larger audience. And so, of course, I was going to ask you this further down the line about how the decision was made to archive this video, if it was ever going to be seen, or how did the process go about that you filmed Belfast Blues to begin with? Because it was filmed in it was last year, I believe, at the Lyric.
Yeah. Yes. So I had this notion that I wanted to take the play home again. This would be, I think, the third time I would bring it home, but I'd never done it at the Lyric. And an opportunity came up to do a co-production with Brassneck Theatre Company, who are a theatre company in West Belfast. And the Lyric Theatre hosts their show every year for the West Belfast Festival. So I knew the play, if I did that, would be accessible to the regular sort of middle class theatre goers, and also people from my area, the working class people, and make it affordable. And then I thought, oh, it's August, no one's ever going to come. And sure, it was packed. It was brilliant. And then sort of closer to the time, I said to Connor, my now husband, I said, maybe I should film it just so I have a really good memory of it. And I got these incredible men and one woman to come with 3 cameras over 2 performances. And they shot with an audience. And this was just going to be for me. I mean, it's a broadcast quality recording, but I just thought, I'm probably never going to do the show again. My back hurts. It's a beautiful way to say goodbye to it, and then Kieran and I were talking about, he said, Belfast Blues, is that, why don't we open the season? And I said, well, I have footage that I haven't actually edited together. And he was like, what? I've been working and with Jude Lynch from Mash Mob in Belfast, and he's been amazing. Over the past month, we put it all together and we chose shots and we edited it, and it's been a joy.
Mm-hmm. I work with a lot of actors now that are starting off in the business, and they're interested in wearing multiple hats. And I know you speak about this in Belfast Blues, you cover it in the piece. But for people that don't know, how did you get started in the business?
Oh, well. Well, my mother would tell you that I was Betty Davis coming out of the womb. So, but how did I get started? You mean professionally? Or...
I think any origin story starts wherever you think. So professionally, if you'd like, or, if you were just always drawn to performing, yes. And the reason I'm asking, Geraldine, is, myself and you, coming from Northern Ireland, you don't always think that that's an opportunity. You don't always think that that's something that's open to you,
No, right.
as something that you could pursue as a life.
Right.
And you've done it so successfully, that I think it, for especially for the Northern Irish and Irish people that maybe might tune into this,
Mm-hmm.
you're an inspiration. So you're just wherever you want to start with it. How did you get started?
Well, I will preface my answer by saying that you and I grew up in a much different time than today.
Yeah.
So I think people starting today, whether they're young or older or middle-aged, whatever age they are, they decide that they need to be an actor, much different than want to be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I think back home especially, there's so much going on. And there's so much opportunity. And if you need to do it, it's something that you wake up and need to do, then you have incredible opportunity that you and I didn't have. I needed this to survive, to literally survive. Work saves me. It has saved me at my lowest points in life. And the one thing I will say about Belfast Blues is that I created something that's mine. Mm. And it's a powerful position to be in when you create something that is completely yours. It is my story. Breaking into this business, I feel like I'm still breaking into it. Because let's face it, you don't get offered anything. I audition for everything. Most people audition for everything. The face of the industry has changed. But I was living in Northern Ireland, in the worst housing project in Europe at the time, a war within a war. It was a pretty as hopeless as it can get. And I did like Mary in the school play, and I was doing school plays at school. And I just felt like when I did that, when I entered into being somebody else, I could forget about everything going on. I could forget about the reality of everything, Oh, my phone's ringing. Sorry.
No worries.
But now I don't know how to get back. Wait a minute. Oh, there it is.
Still on, so don't worry. I still hear you.
Okay. But for me, and then, of course, this extraordinary thing happened to me. I was already doing that. I was already wanting to do that in my own way as a child. But then this American production company came to Ireland, and they were auditioning every child on the island for this movie of the week. And to give a huge plot point away in the play, but when I was chosen for that, I was flown from Belfast to Los Angeles in 1984.
Yeah.
And I saw this and I was like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then I came back home to the war zone and I thought, I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to fight until I get this. And I feel like as artists and as actors, as creative souls, if we really want it, there are very few of us who don't have to fight for it. And when I say fight, I don't mean that. I mean fight for ourselves.
Yeah. But
I suppose that was my way in. And then I ended up in Los Angeles when I was 18. And Christine, I feel like my life as an actor, professional actor, really started when I got to New York. Because when I got to New York, I felt like I could be myself. In Los Angeles, I was like, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not blonde enough, I'm not, don't speak there. I was too much for me. When I got to New York, it was like, come on in, come on, do all this. I just loved it so much. And I made my Broadway debut in translations, and that was my welcome to New York. And I have never looked back since.
I saw that piece. I saw you in 2006. I did, yeah.
Sleepy Helen. And not Sleepy Helen. Oh my God, what was her name? Sleepy Helen is Kripa Vanishman. I'll think of it in a second. Someone tell me, who did I play? What was her name? I'll forget. I'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah. And, years ago, I went to see Maeve Binchy speak the Irish author, and
Yeah.
she said everyone has a book in them, right? She believed that. She said everyone has a book in them. You just have to sit down and write it, and that's the difficult process, right?
Right.
So how did you realize that your group of stories, the experiences that you had, which were extraordinary, just explaining that you in 1984 you were flown from Belfast to LA, you couldn't make it up, right?
I know.
So when did you realize that that could be something you wanted to perform, and how did you go about starting creating that?
Well, I had written some short stories, some sort of little tiny memoirs just for myself. And there was this wonderful woman called Kim Terrell. And she said, you have some stories, we knew one another in Los Angeles. And she said, will you read a couple of them to me? And I did. And she was like, right, you have to do something with these. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm just sharing them with you as a friend. And then parallel to that, I was taking this acting class. And there was an exercise in the acting class, a story exercise, where you had to tell a story with no words. And the story that I chose to tell spontaneously, God's honest truth, was my father's wake. Mm. And afterwards, Rachel Weisz was in that. And she's not a friend, but she was in the class, and she came up to me and she said, this is a play. You have to tell the story. And so I had all these people send me, you have to tell the story. And I said, I'm not getting up on a stage and talking about myself. I don't like one person pieces. I'm not doing that. I don't want to write anything. But then when Kim said, I'm going to fly you to Wake Forest University and you can workshop it there. We'll take all your stories. And then I just started physicalizing it. I'm a very physical actor. It always comes like a gesture. And I discovered, I can do all of these characters with one gesture, whatever. And then I wrote the first act from those stories, and I presented it in LA to a group of people, and everybody said, where's the rest? And I went, oh no. But Kim produced that for me. Her theater was Virtual Theater Company, which is ironic because it was a virtual theater company way back then. And it all just sort of came together very beautifully. And I performed it. I was supposed to perform it for 5 weeks at the Black Dahlia Theatre, which at the time was a 35-seat. It used to be a shoe shop, I think. That was a wee tiny room. So I was like, people were on top of me, and I told the story for 5 weeks, and then it extended, I think, to 15 weeks. But once I gave myself permission to write it, and once I realized that if I wrote it from a child's point of view, then there's an innocence and a truth about that. And I also reminded myself that I wasn't telling anybody else's story except mine. It's not my brothers and sisters' story. It's not my mom's story. Although I did seek their permission at the very beginning of that run, especially my mom. I flew her to LA, and I said, I'm not going to continue to tell this story until you tell me it's okay, until you're okay with it.
Yeah. When you say about, one person shows, and I'm not just saying this because we're speaking right now, but, Harry Clark, Boys and Girls, and Belfast Blues are the three pieces I say when someone says, one person show, I don't know if I want to watch, blah, blah, blah. And I say, see those three, and if you don't enjoy them, you let me know. But right. a well done, well explored, beautiful, honest piece, which of course Belfast Blues is. It's just it doesn't matter if there's one person or there's a million people on the stage. It's about sharing the shared humanity experience, right? And of course the other thing about this piece, Geraldine, is you don't really play one person. You play, 25?
24, I think. There might be an extra one who shows up every now and again, depending on what I remember.
And that is a lot of work in the hour, and it's about our 10-minute, or 15-minute runs. So how do you, as an actor, I'm going to ask more actor questions.
Yeah.
How do you embody that? How did you go about finding each of those people? Because they are very alive. They are separate. They come in and out of the story. They're not just telling a monologue and leaving. You know, they're in and out, interwoven, and it takes a lot of skill to do that. So, can you speak about how you build your characters a wee bit?
Well, I think early on I knew that I think sometimes actors underestimate the character in the play that they don't have any control over, which is the audience. And I think audiences should be given a lot more credit than they are. Because an audience has gotten in a taxi or has walked in the rain or anything and paid money and come and they're in a seat. And they want to have a good time and they want to listen and they're incredible. So I didn't want to make it too difficult for them. You know, I wanted them to know who a character was as soon as they saw them. So for me, that was one gesture. So we know that's Margaret. Mm-hmm. Eddie blinks, you know, so it's a gesture. My daddy, I remembered his brill creamed hair. So for me, it was about his hair. And my mom, you know, as you're sitting there, you know, that's female, strong, heart, soul. So when I was trying to define them, it sort of came very naturally. And I knew that an audience would know who that person was as soon as they saw that gesture or that motion. And so I didn't need anything else except that. So that was fun. And then the kids were, and my younger self, you know, was very, you know, you think of a child and you immediately just want to swing, you know. So I didn't, you know, it sort of came very, very naturally. In terms of who they were. I asked my family a couple of questions about Margaret and Eddie and said, oh, remember his glasses? Oh, that's eyes. Okay. Remember Margaret with the cigarette burns? Oh, that's smoke. So, yeah, I mean, I really trusted that the audience would be on board with that kind of storytelling as well, you know. And just the only sort of real enhancement, I think, is what John did was creating those beautiful images behind me.
And at the time, you know, because I saw the piece in Belfast. I also saw it when it was it's Bleecker Street. It used to be Bleecker Street, and now it's a different theatre now. It was in the West Village. That's where.
Well, I did it at the Culture Project, but they also did it at Barrow Street. I think you saw it at Barrow Street.
I saw it in Barrow. I did. Yeah. And it was a very small and intimate space. And it always I always kind of wondered how you were able to be so close to the audience, right? I mean,
closer. I'd love to be in the audience. Yeah, like in the audience, and I love that. I don't like that idea of separation, and I love that, like, you know, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, well, that's interesting, you know, just to hear as well that the audience is another character for you, and that's very thing for a lot of performers. It's a deeply personal piece. You know, it is, of course, the Troubles were a tragic time and a very difficult time. It was a difficult childhood, but it was a beautiful, rounded childhood too. There's a lot of joy in the work, and I think that something about Irish people in general, and I always get this wrong when I try to say it, Geraldine, so I'll probably say it wrong right now, but we make a big thing out of nothing, and nothing is a big thing, right? So, like, you know, there's...
Oh yeah, how are you doing? Not bad, grand. My leg fell off yesterday, but it's all right. No, it's all right.
100%. Yeah. But you know, the stamps going up by a penny is the end of the world, right? Right. You know, so like, you know, it's kind of, there's this kind of very funny way in which the Northern Irish, in particular, the sense of humor is just so vibrant. Yes. And was that easy just because of the stories you had of the people around you, or where did the humor come from? Was it just a natural thing within yourself? I think you're a very joyful person, Geraldine. So I just wondered if it was all you that found that humor, or if it was really all around you.
No, I mean, I think there's an innate sense of not taking yourself too seriously and having a bit of a laugh in the worst of times that was embedded in me from the day I was born, because that's how my family got through anything, and that's how our culture gets through everything that we've had to go through on that tiny island, you know, over the centuries. So I think it's embedded in us as a culture. I really do. It was really important that people laugh. It was really important that it's funny. It's really important that people have hope. I mean, if I'm going to go on the stage and go, well, some really bad shit happened, and I'm really going to tell you all about it in a certain tone, so you'll be sad for an hour and a half, and that's just how it's going to be. I mean, I'd just leave. I'd literally leave myself. You can't. There, you know, for us, there has to be joy. There has to be hope, because otherwise, you're not going to get out of bed. You know, especially growing up in that environment. And that my mommy and daddy, God rest them, and Eddie and Margaret and all that. I mean, I will talk to my mom a lot now during this, and she'll say, "Oh, but you did, wasn't that a laugh?" I said, "Mommy, but it was really cool." She goes, "Oh, you just got on with it." Right? And we're laughing. And so it's true. I mean, isn't that great though? Isn't that? And it's funny you say I'm such a joyful person, because I'm probably one of the darkest people. You know, I'm like, I am a dark, intense, damaged person. But why would you wake up and choose that if you can help it? You know, I mean, I also, you know, and actually a much more serious note, you know, I do really think that as I get older, I become much more affected by what happened. And I'm lucky that I have an incredible counselor, therapist who I speak to and I've spoken to for the past 15 years. I still talk to her every week, because you got to put that stuff somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go through it. And so then as I've gotten older and more successful and happy and, you know, have this lovely life after all these years, I'm going to be 50 in 6 months. Take that, Facebook. You know, you have to look back and go, that was not normal.
Yeah. Well, and I think as well, when you put it through the lens of Americans, you know, we both, you know, we're both in the States now, and when you just try to tell a story, when someone, because people are very honestly curious and kind about the Irish experience. They always want to know more, and of course 40 million people consider themselves Irish American here, and I've always felt very welcome. And they have questions about Northern Ireland, because, you know, especially 80s, 90s, the coverage was terrible, right? We were stars in the worst way in the news. And it's when you tell a story, when you start telling a story of the experience, you realize, oh wait, this is not normal, because they can't hear it, you know, because it's a trauma, and it becomes you know, a genuine question of, you lived in a war zone, you know, like you lived in a place of civil unrest. But we just got on with it because it was your life, you know.
That was your normality, right?
School, you have to, you know, and things happen around you, and you normalize them in so many ways when you're growing up, because otherwise you wouldn't leave the house, you know.
Right.
I know we're running out of time here. I don't want to keep you much longer, but many years ago, Geraldine was kind enough to meet me and an Irish friend, Emer Kenny. We were aspiring actresses. Of course, I found my rightful place behind the casting table, which I have a beautiful career that way.
No, congratulations, by the way, on everything, and your beautiful marriage and everything.
Thank you.
I'm like, look at her, look what she did.
Thank you. I know I really moved, you know, to the States like yourself, with 2 suitcases and student fees at the time, and just, you know, made a life here, as so many Irish people do. And I was starting my career in the arts, and you were so kind. You met me for a wee cup of tea, and you spoke so nice, so kindly to me and my friend Emer, and it always meant a lot to me. if you could speak to your younger self or to, you know, an aspiring actor, what would you say? What would you say to them, especially kind of now in this time? It feels a little, you know, all these jobs are frozen and Broadway won't come back till next year and all that stuff. So what would you say?
I would say, well, I would say to myself, I think, I would say, you are beautiful, you are worth it, you do deserve it. There is a place for you at the table. You will be successful. Don't listen to all of those people who said you're going to fail, because they don't know anything. They don't know anything. Easy for me, of course, to say that now that I have accomplished quite a bit. It's hard work. But during these times, I think that we're all aching for, we're mammals, right? So we're social beings. We need to feel like we're connected. So if you have an opportunity to connect with other people, even if it's like this, do it. Create a group of people, get on a weekly call, create, write, sing, laugh, talk about it. Don't continue to sort of disconnect yourself from it, because I think as artists we all need one another. And I have to say that I opened up a space, and ended up being 2 spaces over a period of 8 weeks for just that. And I created a workshop. I didn't know what I was doing. I just said people need a place to create, so I'm going to provide a space. And it was an extraordinary experience. So yeah, I would say like contact 5 people, you know, create your own group, get together and stay creative. Don't get stuck. And don't, you know, this too shall pass. You know what I mean? Like, this is not going to be forever. We'll all come out of this changed. But if this is something that you really want to continue to do as an artist, I think it's important to find that outlet, and just don't go looking for it. Create it. You have so much power. Like, we have so much power, and we forget that, you know? Just because that person's doing that and that person's doing that doesn't mean that you can't be doing it as well.
Beautiful, beautiful, Geraldine. I really appreciate your time today. If you the other thing I would add to that is just make sure you keep watching the arts, and a great opportunity to do that is Belfast Blues. I think there are 4 more performances. There's one tonight, and 3 over the weekend that will be streaming. So even if you're in a different time zone, you can pick it up.
That's right. Until Sunday the 27th, irishrep.org/Belfast Blues.
Yeah, there we go. And
if you're completely skint, broke, don't have a penny, still watch it. It'd be great if you could donate to the Irish Rep, because we need to keep them alive. However, you can also watch this for free if you don't have any money.
Yes, that's a great point. Check out the entire season for Irish Rep. It is being offered for free, and it is suggestion donation. It's a beautiful performance. And it's been lovely speaking with you today, Geraldine.
Me too. Let's have a cup of tea again soon.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
All right. Thank you.